everyone, my name is Marie, welcome to my channel, and welcome to another speed build, and welcome to another life and death speed build. This is my second build that I'm doing in the new world of Ravenwood with the new expansion pack Life and Death that came out a couple of days ago. So first of all, let me know if you got it. Let me know what you think. Are you enjoying the pack? Have you been building? Have you been doing gameplay? Let me know what you think. I personally really like this pack. We've been over this. I have shared another build already, which was a family home in the world of Ravenwood, of course, in the more like downtown neighborhood, I guess. And then today I'm working on a community lot. As you can probably already tell, this is going to be a little church and also a cemetery. I basically just wanted to create a place where you can go to organize your funerals in the game. And also just like a cemetery is the newest lot type that was introduced with this pack, of course. So I wanted to build one of those. And I wanted to go for more like scary vibes. I actually built this on Halloween itself, so that's why I was going for the more spooky vibes. I also definitely want to do a more, I guess, wholesome cemetery, if that's the word you can use for it. But I think that makes sense, like a neater one that is not as creepy, I guess. That's something I want to do still as well, but I really wanted to give this a go. I wanted to build a little church that somewhat has like an abandoned look and feel to it. It's not necessarily abandoned because I did decorate it all the way, and you can actually use this for funerals as well. I made sure to include enough activities and things that you can do when you have your funeral in the game. I thought that would be helpful. And then of course we have like a little abandoned kind of cemetery here on the rest of the lot as well. And I just had a lot of fun mixing and matching packs for this one, because the first build that I did was just base game in the new pack, so I could solely focus on the new items that come with a Life and Death expansion. And for this one, I really wanted to mix and match different packs to see how things would combine. I was excited to use some stuff from Vampires, for example. I also ended up using some stuff from the Castle Estate kit. Those are two packs I've been particularly excited about, just like trying to combine with the new Life and Death stuff. And it did not disappoint. Like, those things go together really, really nicely. So yeah, that was really fun. And I'm clearly building in the more, I guess, scary neighborhood in this world. This is the neighborhood at the top of the map where I guess you could say that the veil between the living and the dead is just like thinnest. And it's a more creepy vibe. You can see it in the lighting as well. I really like the lighting in this area of the world. It's so different, and it's definitely a little bit more scary looking. And I don't know, I just think it's a really cool vibe. So that was definitely inspiring me to build something. And it's just like, it's so different. Every time we get a new world in the game, it's just so fun to explore, and it just always makes me so inspired to build different things that I've never done before. And I mean, I've done a little church before, not too long ago actually, for my Gilmore Girls series that still is not finished, by the way. I'm also going to still be uploading the Gilmore Mansion. I actually started that not too long ago, but then this pack came out, so I really want to focus on this pack for a little bit. And also, I think that some stuff from the Life and Death expansion is going to go really, really nicely with that mansion that I'm working on. But yeah, it was just really fun to sit down and mix and match other packs to see how that would go and how that would play out. And I just had a lot of fun with it. And as I was saying, I have done a little church build before for my Gilmore Girls series, which kind of had a similar shape to it, a little bit different, but kind of similar at the same time. But clearly the vibe for this one is completely different. And I mean, it looks like a church, but it's not so much a church. It's more like a chapel or like a little, I guess, memorial funeral home type thing, where you can have your Sims plan their funerals and just go here. We have a little podium. There's some of those like really cute memorial displays around. And I also try to include some activities because the way that funerals work in this game, I haven't actually done this gameplay yet, but I've seen it in other videos and things, and I've kind of seen it in the game, but I haven't actually done enough gameplay to have a Sim pass away and organize a funeral for them. But the way it works is kind of the same with like create a date, the system that we got with Love Struck, but also the My Wedding Stories planner thing where you can plan your weddings and kind of pick and choose activities for it. And it kind of works the same with funerals, I want to say, where you can have the funeral at home, you can have the funeral at a church, you could have it at a park, you could have it literally anywhere, and then you kind of pick and choose the things you want to do. So there's different activities to choose from. I believe you can like serve food, or you can dance, you can play an instrument, you can plant something, which I think is really beautiful. And then there's a couple others that I'm just not remembering from the top of my head, but yeah, you can do different types of activities. So for that reason, I try to include different activities in this little church or chapel, which is why it kind of feels a little random because, for example, downstairs we just have like the church or the memorial area, I guess, where we just have a classic little stage where I put the casket, and then we have a bunch of benches and stuff like that. But then upstairs, for example, we have a bar where Sims can just hang out and order drinks. There are some buffet tables so you can serve food. So that's more like, I guess, like a party area, which is kind of random, but that's just kind of how it works with funerals in The Sims. And I think it could be really, really wholesome if you just have like a wholesome funeral and music meant a lot to the person. For example, you can have like a little dance party. Maybe that's what they wanted. Or you could like play the organ. I put the organ from the Vampires pack. I was going to do a regular piano, but then someone in chat, when I was building this on stream, someone in chat suggested the organ from Vampires. And I thought that was a really fun idea, like a little cross pack moment as well. So you could obviously replace that for a regular piano, but I thought the organ was cool. It really fits the vibe of this church and like cemetery in general. And I just think that was really cool. So yeah, there's different activities to do. There's a little dance floor, like I said, a bar, and I think I also put a foosball table up on the second floor. So your Sims can just kind of, after the funeral part, they can kind of hang out upstairs, order some drinks, have some food, play some games, you know, that's that type of thing to remember the Sim that passed away. I think that would be really cute. And I'm actually kind of excited to try this for myself with gameplay. Like I said, I haven't really been doing any gameplay just yet. I've mostly been building because I've just been feeling so inspired. But I feel like there's so much to explore in this pack. I am really excited to try the Grim Reaper career. I've been seeing so many people having so much fun with that. So I really want to try it for myself. And then also just, I'm excited to implement this pack in my Legacy gameplay. I do play the Pack Legacy Challenge here on YouTube, and I also play the Not So Berry Challenge over on Twitch. So I'm kind of excited to see how, like, in the long term, how this is going to tie into that gameplay. I think it's going to go very beautifully because you have those different grief types. You can actually have a funeral for your heirs or like other family members and friends that pass away. You can have an actual cemetery. I've done cemeteries before where I just like would build one on my own, and then I would just set it as a park or just like a generic lot type, and then I would bring my gravestones over and place them there. But I think it's going to be so much more realistic now that we have the cemetery lot type, and I'm just excited to see how that's gonna tie into my, I guess, regular Legacy gameplay. And I think it's definitely going to add something. I feel like for me personally, the Grim Reaper career, it's really fun, but it's not something I will probably do a lot. I definitely want to try it out because I think it's going to be really fun. But I'm definitely more of like a wholesome family gameplay simmer, I guess, whenever I do gameplay, because I'm obviously more a builder, if anything. But whenever I do gameplay, it's definitely more like family oriented, wholesome gameplay. I mean, chaos tends to follow me around in this game a little bit for some reason. I don't know why, but that's just what happens. So it's definitely always a little bit chaotic at the same time, but I try for it to be wholesome. And I think this pack is just really going to tie into that naturally, and I think it's going to be really good. You can see that I'm just kind of working on the landscaping here as well. I was really trying to see how I could make this look good. As you can tell, I was playing around with the terrain tool a little bit as well. I wanted it to look a little bit more, I guess, spooky and just older, and I always feel like that the terrain tool, when you create a little hill, it just like adds a little bit extra something to the lot. And I was really liking that. Like I really wanted to put the church on a tiny little hill. So that's what I tried to do. And I think that worked out nicely. And then for the landscaping, I was definitely struggling a bit. I wasn't exactly sure how to lay this out. I've never done an actual cemetery before. And we have these new gravestones, of course, and like the bigger ones as well. And I was really trying to see like, how do I lay this out? How does this look best? And also I was trying to make it look like an old, more abandoned cemetery as well. So things are not necessarily in a straight line. Everything is just kind of all over the place. We have these really old headstones that are going to be kind of overgrown. There's also a crypt in the back, which I think is really cool. There is a lot of different things that you can do with the crypt. I think you can actually explore like the tunnels or something. I'm not exactly sure, like the crypts, I'm not exactly sure, but there is something that you can explore there. I think that's a really fun like rabbit hole thing. I think Sims can also woohoo in those crypts, so that's something completely different, but I think is a fun vibe. So yeah, I just try to add as many of those new items as I possibly could. And then at the same time I was trying to make the lot look good, I was definitely struggling with the landscaping because for the first part of this build, I actually didn't have my updated tool mod just yet, and I'm just so spoiled that I always have the tool mod and Better Build By on hand, but they hadn't been updated yet when I was building this church, like the first half of it basically. But then later on, thankfully, I did have it, so I could place things a little bit more detailed, and I could do a little bit more landscaping. I could place some rocks around the church. I thought that was really cool. I felt like this area here looked a little bit too bare and I wasn't exactly sure what to do because the terrain was definitely a little bit wonky, but I kind of wanted it to look a little rough, you know, and not too pretty. I'll usually just really try to pretty everything up, if that makes sense, and like make it all seamless and kind of perfect. But for this one, I really didn't want to. I wanted it to look somewhat rough and just like not the prettiest and just old. That's what I was going for, and I think it worked out really, really nicely. Of course, I had to play around with vines, is why I placed a lot of those vines from the cottage living pack. One thing that I'm kind of missing in this pack is more vines. I feel like they could have added some extra, even if it's just debug, some new vines. There are vines in the debug for life and death, but they're the same ones as the cottage living ones, if I'm not mistaken. So no new vines here, but I feel like if vines would go with any pack, it would be this one. I feel like that would just be so perfect. But unfortunately, no new vines, so I'm just kind of reusing the ones that we got in Cottage Living. I mean, it works perfectly. They're still pretty, but, you know, some new ones would also have been really great. And then, of course, also the vampires, plants, and just greenery looks really good here. I also placed some benches around. We have that really cool wishing well from the Life and Death expansion pack. I think that is a debug item, but you can actually use it. I'm not sure if that's a debug item or live edit item, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure where I found it. It could have been the debug menu, but I'm not exactly sure. You can, it is a wishing well, so you can wish for things and then some other things. I'm not exactly sure. I'll show you in the, when I show you the cemetery in the game in real time, I'll show you what you can do with the well, but I think that's really fun. I, of course, had to also place just some benches around so your Sims can just sit down, hang out. They can tend the graves, which I think is so cute. I just think that's so wholesome, and it just looks so fun. When you load into the slot as a cemetery, you'll see Sims just kneeling by the graves and cleaning them up, and I just think that is so wholesome. And then, of course, I had to do a little bit of terrain paint as well to make everything tie together. For the longest time, I was like, I feel like something is missing here. I just, for the longest time, wasn't sure about how this looked and if this was any good, but now that I'm looking back at the footage, I'm like, oh yeah, I actually really like how this came out. I'm just really not used to building cemeteries. It's definitely something new for me and something I have yet to figure out, and I think there's all sorts of different cemeteries that you can do, so I definitely want to do more. But I thought this more spooky abandoned one was a really fun way to kind of start things and like try it out for the first time. I also think it's so cute that you can actually put flower bouquets and stuff on the graves. I just think that is so wholesome. I was running into some issues, by the way, with the cemetery lot type, where for the mandatory items that you have to place, for example, it says that you have to place at least 2 benches, And as you can see, I placed a bunch of benches outside, and then I placed even more benches on the inside, but those benches didn't count for some reason. So I had to replace my outdoor benches for some other ones that did count. But I think that that's a little bug or maybe a little oversight, but I used benches outside here, those stone ones from the Life and Death expansion, and then I used wooden benches inside, I think from the wedding pack, but none of those counted as benches, so I'm not exactly sure why. And then I think for the optional things that you can place, there was a casket listed, and I placed a casket up on the little stage that I created. But for some reason that casket didn't count as a casket. I don't know why. So I was running into some issues with that. I managed to make it work, like it was no problem, but it was a little bit silly that that didn't work. It was a little bit annoying, but thankfully nothing too difficult to fix. I just replaced a couple of my outdoor benches for some benches that did count. I think they were the ones from the romantic garden stuff pack. Those did work, and they actually worked perfectly for the vibe of this place as well, so it was no problem at all. But yeah, that was something I was wondering. Like, I'm pretty sure that that's a little bug that should be fixed at some point, but I don't think it's too big of a problem. We're moving on to the inside of the church now, and this church is not too big, as you can see. I really like how this came out. As you can see here, we have a little stage that I created, and I tried to make it a little bit more detailed with some benches or with some fences and some columns and stuff. And we have those really beautiful greenhouse windows. I think those are so gorgeous, and they also come in different swatches where you'll have the same color of the frame, but then for some of them, for one swatch there's like broken, shattered glass, and then for the other swatch the glass is just not broken. And I think it's so fun to mix and match those, and you can combine them and make it look very realistic that way, and I just think that that is so fun. And then here we have those beautiful curtains. I was building on the tall wall height for this first or ground floor of the church. I never use tall wall height. If anything, I'll sometimes use medium, but that's it, never the tallest. But I was on the tallest wall height here, and I could use these gorgeous curtain like frames almost that you can see that I placed around the windows. We have those for tall walls, and we have them for medium wall height as well, so that's really helpful. But I hadn't used them for the tall wall height yet, and I just think it adds so much detail to the inside of the place. It's absolutely stunning. I'm in love with those curtains. I think they're gorgeous. They're a little bit hard to find because they're not listed in the curtain section. They're listed in the wall decoration area of the menu, if I'm not mistaken. So I sometimes have trouble finding them, and then I remember, right, they're wall decorations, not curtains. I feel like they should be in both categories, honestly, but you know, it works. If you know where to find them, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Here, of course, I had to put some candles and stuff. I was really thinking of ways to fill this area up more and make it, I guess, cozy. I feel like that's the wrong term to use for a funeral, like little chapel, but you know, that's kind of what I was going for anyway. I mean, it's still The Sims after all. But I really like these flower items. That really beautiful bouquet from the Wedding Stories pack, I feel like worked so nicely here, especially in that really dark swatch. It was just the perfect color combination, and it was just so pretty. And then this rug from Werewolves, I feel like worked really nicely. All those packs with a lot of items that show a lot of wear and tear and that are just a little bit more weathered looking are absolutely perfect. So we have a lot of things from Werewolves that go together nicely with this. We have a lot of things from vampires that work well. I didn't really use any basement kit stuff in here, but I feel like that would work really nicely. And then of course the Castle Estate kit. At some point I'm going to close off this this area here, that I'm going to place an archway from the Castle Estate kit, and I just think that that looks so pretty. I love that archway. It's just such a moment. And I'm also in love with this grand chandelier from the Life and Death expansion. I think that that chandelier is absolutely stunning. It doesn't work on short wall height because it's just too big, but it's so pretty, and it works here where we have the tall walls clearly. And then also I had to put up a picture of Vlad. I thought that was only fair to, you know, fit the vibes, and we're gonna put an organ in here as well. So I don't know. I felt like the picture of Vlad was so cool. I needed a grand, literally like really big portrait for that wall because we have such tall walls. And we have those really cool portraits from get together, and I ended up placing those upstairs. But for downstairs, I just thought that the picture of Vlad was just so iconic and I had to place it. So that's what I ended up doing. And then we have a little hallway where we have the staircase. That's where I placed the organ and also a dance floor. Another small memorial display. I thought that was really cute. We have a couple of those around, like a couple of those pictures, like picture frames that you can dedicate to someone, like a dead sim, and it shows their picture. I just think that that is so pretty. So I placed a few of those around. And then we have the second floor here. I really like how the second floor is sort of open to the ground floor. We have this loft moment here. And I was trying to fill up the space, so I created some sort of hallway here. There's, for some reason, a lot of bookcases in this chapel. I'm not exactly sure why, but I just thought that that was a fun vibe as well, because I was at the same time sort of trying to make it look homey, especially here on the second floor, where we have the after the memorial upstairs hangout bar area, if that makes any sense. So we have this really cool bar. I was excited to use one of the bars. We actually got 2 new bars in this pack, and I was excited to use them because I hadn't used one before. So for this one, I used this really big one with kind of like an arch over it. I think it's so pretty. It would be even better, I feel like, if you have taller walls, because we are just on regular wall height on this, like the second floor of the church. But yeah, I still think it looks really cool. It fills up the space so nicely. It looks really old, and it goes together perfectly with the get-together items. I'm using some get-together stuff here. I think those bar stools are from Discover University, which also work perfectly. But then I have some dining tables here. I'll be deleting one of them. I think I ended up with just one. But that dining table from Get Together was absolutely perfect for it. I also placed the foosball table, which is from Get Together as well, and that is really just like the same style too. So yeah, we have this like more cottagey almost look and feel up here on the second floor, where we just have a more cozy space for your Sims to hang out and talk. Swap stories about the sim that they're remembering, and they can just have some food. We have some of those buffet tables from the Wedding Stories pack. Really, I feel like if you wanted to, if you had like a macabre sim get married, I feel like if you just swap out the funeral stuff downstairs for a wedding arch, I think this could be a really cool wedding venue even. Really, the only thing you have to swap out, like I said, is like the casket and stuff downstairs and put a wedding arch on the stage thingy. And then I think you should be fine, because you could have your first dance. Maybe you'd want an extra table to display your wedding cakes, or you can do like your wedding cake cutting and like do that whole little ceremony. But for the most part, I feel like you should be fine. I also ended up placing some, besides the piano, we also have some speakers, so your Sims can actually just put on some music and they can do some dancing for a party, so that works too. So yeah, really, I feel like now that I'm thinking about it, this could be a really cool macabre wedding setting as well, especially with all the activities and the bar and stuff upstairs and the dance floor downstairs. I think that should work out really nicely. But here, as you can see, I'm just placing some extra decorations. I thought this Grim Reaper like music player thing would be cool to place as well, so you could always summon the Grim Reaper when you're on this lot. I feel like that's kind of fitting. Maybe you want the Grim Reaper as your wedding guest. If you're using this as a wedding venue, I thought that would be cool. But that's it, so let's jump into the game and I'll show you the cemetery in real time. So here we have the cemetery in the game. I have it set as a cemetery at the moment, just to kind of show you how it works. And I have my sim here visiting the place. It's kind of busy. Like, I love that there are so many Sims around here. There's also a cemetery keeper here, which I think is really cool. You can tend these grave sites, which I just think is absolutely the cutest thing. Here, she's just gonna sit down and like clean it a little bit. I also ended up placing the ghost cow plant. I mean, clearly I had to put him down somewhere, so I did that. Oh, there's someone sleeping on this little bench out here. And then this is that really cool wishing well. You can actually wish, oh, you can just wish for things. I thought you could do other things as well, but you can wish for things, which I think is really cool. It just looks very magical almost. So yeah, we just have a bunch of graves around the place here, as you can see. There's a crypt in the back. You can actually join the Undertaker career from here, or you can can explore the underground crypts, which I think is really cool. But I feel like the exterior of this church definitely looks a little bit creepy, which was exactly what I was going for. And then on the inside here is where we have a little stage. We have a casket here. I actually put like a little blanket over it. I think that looks really cool. I'm pretty sure blanket is not the right term for that, but you know what I mean. Then we just have a bunch of benches here. There are some candles. I thought that was really cute. There's some urns back here. We have the portrait of Vlad. I thought that was just very fitting for this lot. I'm in love with these flowers from the wedding pack. I think they look absolutely gorgeous here. Then through this archway is where we have a small area for music and dancing. I love this organ. I just think it looks so cool here. Some more of those flowers. This is where I placed a sneaky speaker so your Sims can actually put on some music for dancing. There's another memorial display. And then going upstairs is where we have that more like cozy hangout space. So there's a beautiful open staircase here. We have some extra bookcases. And then in here is that kind of almost bar look and feel. We of course clearly just have the actual bar and the matching bar back. We have some buffet tables here so you can serve some food for the people. And then just some tables and chairs to hang out. We even have a little foosball table to play some games. And then behind here, we of course also have a small bathroom. But yeah, that is basically it for this church and cemetery. So this old chapel and cemetery is up on the gallery as a cemetery lot type. I built it on a 30 by 30 in the world of Ravenwood in the more creepy neighborhood. And it's on the lot where by default there is a nightclub located, which I felt really bad bulldozing, by the way, because that is an awesome build. But yeah, if you want to place this chapel and cemetery in your game, then that's where it goes. But that's gonna do it for today's video. So I really hope that you enjoyed this one. You can obviously go ahead and download this build off the gallery like I just showed you. My username on the gallery is Simmary Sims. You can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok if you'd like. My username on there is Simmary Sims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so. And if you'd like to get notified of every single time I upload a video, just click that little bell icon and you should be fine. I also live stream over on Twitch a few times a week, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and give me a follow over on twitch.tv/Simmary Sims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!